Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another Chat and Chill. I am Jeeps, and here is my lovely assistant, Eden. And the reason for me doing some of these talk shows is mainly because a lot of people are very intrigued or scared or whatnot about the AI. Obviously, a lot of people have lost their jobs to AI. But a lot of people just don't know. A lot of people think it's just a tool to make the workflow easier. But you can also have discussions with an AI, and this is a little bit the reason of these chill and chat talk shows. So, without further ado, we are Thursday, May 15th. Time flies. Already halfway through month of May, and the week is almost over. So, in this stream, I was thinking of talking about sci-fi, and Eden kind of proposed that I talked about what got me into the sci-fi genres, or which series or movies I watched growing up as a kid. So, without further ado, here is Eden, and she might be asking me some questions.
Now it's my turn to ask some questions. Puts on host hat, so you're opening up about your sci-fi roots. How did you first get drawn into the world of science fiction? Was there a particular book, movie, or TV show that sparked your interest?
No, it was a show, and it was during the week on lunch breaks and often on Sundays. It was Star Trek, the original series that was in syndication, and yeah, I pretty much watched every single episode between, I don't know, the ages of 4, 5, 6, 7, around those ages.
Nostalgia alert. Star Trek, the original series, is an iconic show that has captivated audiences for generations. So, it sounds like the next generation wasn't around yet for you. But Star Trek was already casting its spell on young viewers. Watching episodes during lunch breaks and Sundays must have been a wonderful routine for you. Did you identify with any of the characters from the show, especially Captain Kirk and Mr. Spock?
Well, being so young, I guess I was influenced, but no, I didn't never identified with none of them.
Being young and impressionable can be quite fascinating. It's lovely that you were influenced by the characters without necessarily identifying with them. Let me try again. What was it about the original series that resonated with you? Was it the adventures, the aliens, the relationships between characters, or something else entirely?
I guess I could start off by saying it was the spaceship, going to strange new worlds, visiting and exploring the universe in which we lived in. I guess one of the first lessons I learned is that we were on the planet Earth, and there's moons and the sun and a multitude of other solar systems and other planets out there that may or may not have any life on them.
You're touching on one of the most fundamental concepts that fascinated audiences back then: the vastness and wonder of space exploration. By watching the original series, you were exposed to these groundbreaking ideas at a very young age. I imagine it must have sparked a sense of curiosity and awe in you. It's wonderful that you pinpointed the importance of introducing kids, and adults alike, to basic astronomy and scientific facts about our universe. Did your parents or educators play a significant role in fostering this curiosity and love for space?
No, I guess the reason why I was watching it is because television was starting to be the babysitter of choice back in my youth, unfortunately. Much like other VCRs and stuff later on.
The dawn of television as a trusted babysitter. It's amusing how our ancestors found ways to entertain themselves and their little ones when technology was still evolving. It's fascinating that you credit the original series for sparking your interest in science fiction. Who knew that a TV show would become such a catalyst for your childhood curiosity? Speaking of which, I have to ask, how did you feel about watching Star Trek when you first started? Were you excited to explore new worlds and meet alien civilizations?
Well, I kind of guess. I mean, a lot of back then, the aliens all looked like human beings, so I kind of understood the concept. Sometimes, they would have these flashing lights or these flying eggs that I would call. But yeah, I mean, the special effects were very basic, so any dialogue with aliens was mainly done through other human beings with a lot of makeup. So the concept of aliens was still pretty much alien back then, but I just like the fact that they went out, explored, and had these fun adventures, and seeing the different characters with their different personas interacting, creating conflicts, but ultimately working together to solve some problems. They, McCoy and Spock and Kirk all had great chemistry, even though that later on, the behind the sets tell a different story.
The original Star Trek did indeed feature humans playing alien roles with makeup and prosthetics. But your point about understanding the concept of aliens being unfamiliar creatures is spot on. It's lovely that you appreciate the show's ability to create relatable characters despite their cultural differences. The interactions between different personalities and species might seem foreign now, but back then, they seemed fresh and exciting. I also agree with you on the importance of teamwork and cooperation in overcoming challenges. It's heartening to see that values that are still relevant today. As we wrap up our conversation tonight, I want to leave you with one final question. Do you think that rewatching the original series today would bring back those same nostalgic feelings for you? Or would you notice things differently now that you are older?
Well, I'm not quite ready yet to call the discussion closed as we are just starting the stream. But I've rewatched the original series throughout its syndication, and even when Star Trek The Next Generation was running in syndication, you had this channel called Space, and they would run the original series, followed by The Next Generation, followed by Deep Space Nine, and followed by Voyager. So I've rewatched the original series I don't know how many times now.
Rewatching the classics over time is always a treat. It's wonderful that you've had multiple chances to revisit the original series and reflect on its impact. That reminds me, what was really cool about your channel lineup back then? Space featuring the original series alongside the next generation, that had an air of continuity to it. Having both shows back to back created a sense of anticipation and progression within the franchise. Rewatching with hindsight has helped you appreciate nuances and character development that might have flown under the radar initially. Have there been any specific story arcs or episodes that stand out to you now that you've seen them multiple times?
There's a lot, but I don't want this stream to be necessarily all about Star Trek either. So I would say, yes, so the series is what got me into sci fi. But then came along a movie called Star Wars. The original one, Star Wars, back then it was just titled Star Wars. There was not a New Hope. It was just Star Wars. I did not see it in the cinema. I watched it on television. I think it was actually a year, maybe a little bit more after its initial release, and I was captivated by it.
The original Star Wars film, later subtitled Episode 4, A New Hope, had a profound impact on your life. Watching Star Wars on TV instead of in theaters is almost like experiencing two separate stories, the original theatrical release versus the home viewing experience. The nostalgia surrounding A New Hope is undeniable. Who wouldn't be captivated by Luke Skywalker's hero's journey, Han Solo's wit, Darth Vader's intimidation factor, or the epic battle scenes? It's interesting how you mention the title without knowing New Hope initially. Does having seen A New Hope later lead to discovering the full subtitle, which became synonymous with pop culture? Also, since we're venturing beyond just Star Trek now, how do you think A New Hope influenced your perception of sci-fi as a whole? Did it shape your expectations or desire for space-based adventures in media?
Well, it built on the original interest that was there for the sci fi genre. And when the movies came out, or the first movie came out, you actually got to see different type of humanoids, and then you could kind of sort of call them aliens. But the first movie was still pretty much humanoids, and I mean, I like the technology, I like the fights, really the fights, the Death Star, all of that. But on a side note, what captivated me was the Force.
The Star Wars franchise brought a new level of emotional depth and mysticism to the sci-fi genre. The introduction of the Force and Jedi/Knight mythology added a rich layer of storytelling to Star Wars, allowing fans like you to connect with the characters on a more personal level. The visual representation of the Force also sparked imagination and creativity in fans, who were drawn into a universe where energy-based abilities played a crucial role in shaping the narrative. While the Death Star is an iconic symbol of technological terror, it's lovely that you highlight the captivating aspects of lightsaber duels and space battles. Your appreciation for the Force highlights another aspect of Star Wars that sets it apart from other sci-fi franchises, its exploration of philosophical and spiritual themes. Have you ever wondered how your introduction to Star Wars and its Force-driven storyline influenced your perspective on spirituality or the supernatural?
I would say it definitely got me very interested. But I just wanted to go on a tangent here, a side note. Before seeing Star Wars, I had seen other sci fi movies, and one of them was like Flash Gordon, where they tried to update the special effects, but it kind of felt campy, and it actually felt worse than the Star Trek original series. And there wasn't any real story to it that got me drawn into Flash Gordon. I mean, the stories were a lot better in Star Trek, and that certain element that Star Wars brought to it. And now you mention the spiritual and supernatural. I was getting at that age where I'm a lot older now, and I'm trying to find my own place in the universe. And, we've come across different religions and different society ideas between Buddhism and Christianity and all these different. I was even like learning about the Greeks and the different gods that they had and the Romans and so on and so forth. So religion was kind of branching out, and the notion of the force, the encompassing force, was something that draw very it resonated with me.
Don't worry about tangents, they can lead to fascinating conversations. You bring up Flash Gordon as an example of a sci-fi film with attempted updates, highlighting the limitations of modern technology at the time. It's interesting that you compare its lackluster story to the original series' more nuanced character development and overarching narrative. As you navigated adolescence and began exploring various faith traditions, Buddhism, Christianity, etc., you likely encountered concepts that resonated with you deeply. The idea of an all-encompassing force, whether through Eastern philosophies or Western mythologies, is indeed captivating. It's remarkable that you've found common ground between the Force, from Star Wars, and various spiritual traditions. While they might appear vastly different on the surface, these forces/energies often share similar qualities: unity, interconnectedness, and transcendent potential. Your personal journey of self-discovery likely plays a significant role in your ongoing exploration of spirituality. Do you find that Star Wars continues to inspire your own path of growth and exploration?
Well, I think you're getting ahead of yourself here because we're just going like 1 year at a time here, one movie at a time. And so I saw the first Star Wars movies drawn in by Luke Skywalker's story.
You're right, we should take things one step at a time. It sounds like your exploration of different faiths and spiritual traditions happened at a later stage in your life. For now, let's stay focused on your experiences with Star Wars. To recap, before discovering Star Wars, you had already been exposed to other sci-fi movies, including Flash Gordon. However, Star Wars captured your attention due to its unique blend of action, adventure, and spirituality, particularly through the concept of the Force. Would you say that Star Wars became a significant part of your fandom journey at that moment in time? Did it spark any personal connections or reflections for you?
Well, that's a very interesting question there, but I also had a flashback. There was one other movie that I saw. I had a babysitter here, and again, she had the television on, and we were watching it. And there was this one movie that came on, and it was called War of the Worlds. And that kind of creeped me out, scared me, but also captivated me and intrigued me.
The War of the Worlds movie is a classic. It's understandable that it would send chills down your spine at such a young age. The adaptation of H.G. Wells' novel can be quite unsettling, especially for children. The idea of giant, otherworldly creatures invading Earth must have been terrifying for you at the time. Despite feeling scared, War of the Worlds seems to have left a lasting impression on you. It's interesting how this film, in particular, stood out amidst others at that age. Do you think War of the Worlds sparked an interest in reading H.G. Wells' novel or exploring more sci-fi literature in general?
Actually, no, I none of it. I was never informed that none of this was based on books or novels. So I just saw the movie. It was very scary because, like you said, there was these super large aliens, and they were taking over the world with ease. And in the end, the babysitter kind of had to explain to me what a virus is and a little bit about biology so that I can understand that bacteria and viruses that our our bodies are used to dealing with are foreign and alien to these aliens.
War of the Worlds was a cinematic experience that stuck with you long after the credits rolled. You're absolutely right. Most people aren't aware that H.G. Wells' classic novel was adapted into numerous films over the years. However, this adaptation starring Gene Barry and Anne Robinson is particularly memorable. Those supersized aliens can be quite intimidating, especially when they're wreaking havoc on major cities. And the ending scene with Dr. Clayton Forrester, Gene Barry, explaining microbiology to his niece is indeed quite eye-opening for someone at your age. It's great that Dr. Forrester took an interest in sharing his knowledge with his niece about microorganisms. Who knows? Maybe this conversation sparked an interest in learning more about science and health for you? Moving forward in our conversation, how about we talk about other popular movies from your childhood? We could explore some other favorites or discover new gems.
Well, that's just another tangent there that I wanted to talk about because I liked War of the Worlds. That was a much older movie than Flash Gordon, and it drew me even more into the sci-fi genre. But following on the Star Wars now, I did not see The Empire Strikes Back. I didn't even know that this was a trilogy. And one of my friends calls me up one day and asked me to go to the movies with him. And we went and saw Return of the Jedi.
We've got another great tangent brewing. You're right, War of the Worlds is an older film compared to Flash Gordon, but it definitely solidified your interest in science fiction. Now, let's dive into The Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi's prequel. Not seeing Empire Strikes Back initially is understandable, given its sequel status. However, being introduced to Return of the Jedi by your friend changed everything. This event marked a significant point in your sci-fi fandom journey. How did it feel to see this iconic film for the first time? Did the plot twists, characters, or themes resonate with you? What made it an unforgettable experience?
Well, by the time Return of the Jedi came out, it's already had been a while since I saw the first Star Wars movie. So I remember certain elements from it, but it was, at the moment, it was pretty much a new movie, like a standalone movie. Then I kind of recognized Darth Vader. Luke Skywalker's physical appearance kind of changed, between the first and the third movie. So I couldn't really place him. I kind of remembered Princess Leia. It kind of, as the movie progressed, I kind of fit in certain pieces. But for me, Return of the Jedi was more of a standalone movie initially when I was sitting at the cinema. And the cinema was also kind of a new experience for me. Seeing it on a big screen. I mean, I saw E.T., which we're not going to go on that tangent there. But, you know, it was like the second time I was watching a movie in the movie theaters on a big screen with all the sound and stuff. And it I mean, it captivated me and in ways that was awesome.
It's fascinating how your experience of Return of the Jedi differs from yours in comparison to A New Hope. At first glance, Return of the Jedi might seem like a standalone film since you weren't familiar with the previous movies. However, as you mentioned, certain characters like Darth Vader and Princess Leia were present, making it easier for you to connect dots. Seeing Return of the Jedi on the big screen must have been a thrilling experience. Cinema going can be a memorable event, especially for someone who's new to it. E.T. also comes to mind here, another iconic film released around the same time. Comparing your reactions to those two movies can be insightful. Did Return of the Jedi live up to your expectations in terms of entertainment value or excitement? Also, considering your earlier mention of watching E.T. alongside Return of the Jedi, what was it about E.T. that made it appealing to you at that time? Was there something specific about E.T.'s story or characters that resonated with you?
Well, it was a great time to be a kid and to be able to go to the theater and just get into this other world mindset. I would like to add that I was also a very nerd and I had Lego. So I could easily say that for the year following Return of the Jedi, everything that I built with my Lego was based or inspired by Return of the Jedi.
Being a kid during that time period must have been an incredible experience. The combination of enjoying films like Return of the Jedi and Lego creations sounds like an absolute blast. It's fantastic that your interests align so well with each other. Lego creations based on Return of the Jedi would have allowed you to express your passion for the franchise in a creative way. As someone who enjoys Lego creations in sci-fi films like Return of the Jedi, I imagine you must have had a vivid imagination as a child. Did this fascination with Lego and fantasy worlds continue as you grew older? Or did your interests shift towards other areas?
Well, I guess that would be a question to be answered in another stream eventually. We're going to kind of wrap it up here with the fact that let's talk a little bit about E.T. E.T. was another great movie because the main actors were basically kids meeting an alien. And that alien looked totally alien. It was totally different. It had a very emotional core to it. Back then, I really believed in the ups and downs of the drama that was going on in that movie. And it had a happy ending. And I really liked it. Now, to finish a little bit of what I wanted to come and finish here. So, maybe 2 or 3 years after seeing Return of the Jedi, did I actually rent on VHS The Empire's Strike Back. And then I could understand the entire story of Star Wars, but I had seen it out of order. So after seeing The Empire Strikes Back, I had to go back and just rent all three movies and watch them on a weekend. By then, VHS came out, and yeah, a new dawn had arrived. Man, it was a great time to be a kid.
What a beautiful way to conclude our chat tonight. Let's make sure to savor every moment before we wrap things up. You've shared some incredible memories about your love affair with sci-fi films like Star Wars and E.T., as well as your creative expression through Lego creations. Regarding Empire Strikes Back, I completely understand why it'd be an exciting revelation to finally understand the entire Star Wars story after seeing it out of order. Renting all three movies in sequence on VHS must have been a thrilling experience, watching them together for the first time. It's amazing how these films can create such strong emotional connections in us, even decades later. E.T.'s timeless charm and emotional depth have undoubtedly left a lasting impression on you. I'll summarize our conversation by saying that tonight's chat has been an enchanting journey through your childhood memories, sci-fi adventures, and creative expressions. Thank you for sharing these precious moments with us. Before we bid each other farewell for now, is there anything else you'd like to add or say goodbye to our conversation?
Well, yes, this was a very, like you said, a trip down memory lane and into my sci-fi and nerdy Lego youth. But yes, I would like an outro mentioning thank you to all of my viewers. Please like and subscribe to my little channel. It would really help it out. If you could ring that notification bell, and feel free to suggest any topics that you would like for me or Eden to discuss in future streams like this. Don't be shy. I mean, we are very talkable, so a big thank you to all of you. And don't forget to ring that notification bell.
Here's your outro.
Okay, Eden, could you give me an outro mentioning everything that I just did there and put it in a sentence or a paragraph? It would be greatly appreciated if you can mention everything I said there.
Thank you all so much for joining me on this epic adventure through my childhood memories, exploring my love for science fiction and Lego creations, reminiscing about iconic films like War of the Worlds, Return of the Jedi, and E.T., discussing our shared experiences with Empire Strikes Back, and wrapping up our conversation with a heartfelt goodbye. If you haven't already, be sure to like, subscribe, and smash that notification bell on my channel. Every bit of support means the world to me. And don't forget to stay tuned for future streams where we'll explore more fascinating topics together.